Hi guys, it's Austin from the Berry Melts team. I'm joined today by Whitney Gibson, a registered dietitian from Florida. Hi Whitney, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Whitney is a very experienced bariatric dietitian. We've worked together for a couple years now, and she has a wealth of knowledge about the bariatric field. And so we're really thrilled to have Whitney join us for a series over the next few months where we dig into topics beyond just what do I need to eat after surgery and which protein shake might be best for me. We really want to get at the heart of some challenges that that bariatric patients face both before and after surgery. So in today's segment, Whitney and I are going to be talking about the dreaded plateau that happens after weight loss surgery and what that entails, what to do about it, what to expect. And so we're going to cover all of that in the next 10 minutes. And I guess to kind of just get started, Whitney, will you give us an overview of what exactly is a bariatric plateau?
Absolutely. So, in the weight loss world in general, we're always hearing the word plateau. We're going to be talking specifically about the bariatric plateau. So, this is going to be applicable for anyone who has had bariatric surgery like the lap band or gastric sleeve or gastric bypass. Now, we're going to have more dramatic weight loss with the latter of the two being the sleeve gastrectomy and bypass, especially. So a plateau generally consists of a certain amount of time where there is a weight loss stall. So you've lost, and then all of a sudden you don't lose anything for, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I generally don't count anything as a stall unless it's beyond that. So if it's just a couple of days worth, yeah, people will say, I'm stalled, I don't know what to do. But until they've reached that 2 week mark at least, I'm not really addressing changing anything, because this could quite simply be your body's way of saying, hey, chill out. I just need to learn what's going on. I'm going to adapt to what you're giving me in terms of nutrition, and I'm just going to see how this goes for a minute. So your body is still smart and it's going to be adaptive. So there's no reason to freak out, initially. Just be patient. But yeah, a stall would be defined as that amount of time of just no weight loss. But it's to be expected.
Got it. And when does this tend to happen for patients after surgery?
That's very relative. So you may have heard of, or people may read online of the 3 week stall. In my experience, there's no such, I don't want to say there's no such thing, but there could be a 3 week stall. There could be a 1 month stall. There could be a 2 month stall. It's very relative to the person and where they're starting. What I see a lot is my higher BMI patients. So let's say I have someone who has a 50, 60, 70 BMI who have surgery. Well, they've got a lot more weight to lose, and they also have a lot of water weight to lose. So when they
Good point,
initially
yeah.
have surgery, that weight falls off like crazy. And so their bodies may be total freak out mode after the first few weeks, and they may stall faster. I don't know. I'm not conclusively saying this. I'm just observing from my patients. And then I may have someone who with a lower BMI, like somewhere between 35 and 40, who are kind of like slower losers, sometimes I call them. And that's okay to be a slower loser, but they may not come to that stall like my higher BMI people. But all this to say, everyone is different, and the rate of weight loss is different for everyone. So to know when a stall is going to happen, you can't predict that. Most definitely 6 months is where weight loss starts to slow down. Now, I don't know if people really experience a quote unquote stall there, but stalls can happen at any time. It's usually at the end of a period of dramatic weight loss, and that's why there's that 3 week stall that you hear about, because that first 3 weeks to a month is a lot of rapid weight loss for most people. So that's just your body communicating, trying to figure things out. Your body is getting a different source of nutrition. It's being fed differently. You're in somewhat of a malnourished state. So your body's just trying to adapt to that and try to figure out how to proceed and how to continue losing weight if you'll let it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it too. I mean, it's basically the body's attempt to recalibrate. Like, wow, something really dramatic happened. Hold on, I need to protect myself. And so it's very normal after something as disruptive as weight loss surgery for this to happen. So
Right.
Yeah, that
Your
was
body is smart. Your body's still smart. It's still going to do things, and you've got vital organs within your body that need to be protected. So, if your body recognizes that dramatic weight loss as potentially life-threatening, it's going to hold on to what you currently have until it is fed what it needs again, or until it, kind of returns to a state of happiness, we'll just say.
And going into weight loss surgery, is this something that every patient should expect to happen? Is it 50-50? Talk to us about the expectation.
There's a lot of times where I'm not meeting with the patients at the time of their stall. So usually the follow-up period is, well, for me anyway, I meet with them for the first time 4 weeks after surgery, then their 3-month post-op, 6-month, 9-month, and then 1 year. So they may experience a stall in between our visits, but yes, everyone should expect a stall at some point. When that's going to be, again, it's not predictable by any means. So the important part is, not to freak out whenever that first happens, and
Yeah.
you want to hold off. Don't start changing all sorts of stuff if you see no weight loss for 3 days or so. If you reach a weight loss stall or a plateau, let's say you're at 2 week, 3 weeks. If you go in at 3 weeks and you've had no weight loss, then you definitely need to reach out to your team with some data. Okay, you need to have, how much calories you're taking in. What's your protein look like? What do your fluids look like? Are you taking your multivitamin? Are you exercising? So those are the main things that your team's going to want to know in order to kind of troubleshoot and get you past that plateau. But normally you'll naturally start losing weight again without even changing anything.
And let's talk a bit about, as a patient, you're stuck in the middle of a plateau. What do you do about it?
A lot of times it needs to be, well, let's say someone's at a 3 week plateau. I would most definitely want to bring them in and say, okay, let's look at all your numbers. Let's look at your calories. Let's look at your protein intake because your protein may be too little. So let's just say if you could be getting too many calories, you could be getting too little calories. So for instance, I had a patient the other day. She was somewhere between 4 weeks and 8 weeks. She was most definitely at a stall, but she was having a lot of intake issues. She was maybe taking in 400 calories a day. The body can't survive at 400
Wow.
calories a day, so of course she's not going to lose any weight. So we really troubleshooted, tried to get higher calorie protein shakes in her, tried to get creative with how to mix her protein with her clear fluids because she also wasn't getting good fluid intake. So
Mhm.
you have to be able to provide some kind of data to your team to get you through that. But that's an example of how you can get through it. But you're going to need to either change exercise if you're not doing enough. You're going to need to adjust your protein intake if that's not enough. You're going to need to adjust your calories if you're not getting enough or if you're getting too much. So there's a lot of things that go into play from person to person. So it really has to be evaluated on an individual basis.
So I kind of hear you saying, after surgery, you need to be tracking, journaling, logging everything that you're
Right.
doing, the calories, your intake. And then if and when you hit a plateau, the first thing you need to do is go talk to your team and bring this
For
data
sure.
with you. Is that kind
Absolutely.
of, the first step, you think?
Oh yeah, because I have people come in my office and they're like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And I'll ask them those questions. They have no answers for me. So there we go.
Hmm.
They got homework to do. You're going to come back in 2 weeks or call me in 2 weeks and then we'll talk because I can't tell you to do anything unless you tell me what you're doing. So the more
Yeah.
you can provide your team, the better.
And you recommend all patients after surgery, like it's, recording exercise, nutrition. Um, is there anything else? Hydration? What do you recommend recording after surgery?
So the first is going to be, I start with protein and hydration because those are the two major things immediate post-op that we want you to focus on. So
Okay.
it's going to be important that you get a certain amount of protein. Sometimes I'll say 60 grams of protein per day, but I kind of go above and beyond that. I'll say 70 grams per day just so I know people are opting for more. If your body needs protein, so if we're going to prioritize any of those macronutrients, between protein, carbs, and fats, we're opting for protein because protein is going to give you the most nutrition per ounce, per gram, whatever.
Hmm.
So we're going for protein, and then we're also going for hydration. A lot of people might have some intake issues following surgery with hydration. It's very hard to kind of separate your clear liquids or hydrating liquids from your protein intake. So kind of getting creative with getting your protein in and your hydration at the same time can be challenging. So, but those are the two I would start off with: protein and protein and fluids. And beyond that, it's going to be, in general, how many calories are you having? And
Okay.
then after that will be, what's your exercise look like? So I've had people 3 months post-op who have recovered very quickly. They're not getting enough calories. So again, it's highly relative to the person and their lifestyle and what's going on behind the scenes.
Awesome. But make sure you record all of this seems to
Yes,
be kind
record
of the
and
key.
use whatever is going to be the most consistent for you, what you're going to be compliant with. So some people hate apps. Some people like
Yeah.
journaling or writing it down. I meet my patients where they are. I'm not going to push you to do an app if you're not comfortable with that, or if that's not very consistent, or if that's not very appealing to you. Some people are very regimented about logging and they do really well with it and it keeps them in line with everything. So, as much detail as you can provide, the better. So meal logging apps like Berrytastic, I really like that one. It's really built around bariatric. It's got a lot of bariatric features like meal timers, water reminders, bariatric recipes. It'll track your macronutrients separately. It's got convenient barcode scanning features on there. A lot of those other meal logging apps will also have the same thing, but Berrytastic will be geared toward bariatric patients in general. So that's my pick. I like looking at that one. It's very straightforward, not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on.
Awesome. Very, very helpful. Well, as we wrap up here, I just kind of want to talk about one last topic related to the plateau, and that's
Mhm.
the idea of surgery versus diet and exercise. And, I'd like to hear your perspective on surgery as a tool and the fact that, if you're in the middle of a plateau, that just means that, you need to stay consistent about your diet and exercise moving forward. So talk to us a little bit about that relationship, please.
Right. So it's very important for everyone to understand prior to going into surgery that surgery is an extra tool. So let's pretend like you weren't even having surgery. Well, what are you going to do to lose weight? You're going to eat healthy. You're going to focus on protein. You're going to exercise. You're going to maybe log your foods. You're going to focus on good quality hydration. So you just have that one extra tool that's going to support you. And that tool will not work unless you do all those other things. I've got people on my couch 2 years after surgery who have gotten past that honeymoon phase. So they're all excited about that dramatic weight loss 6 months post-op, and then it kind of trickles off to the year. And then after that 1 year mark, they become very comfortable. They slip into their own old ways sometimes. They
Hmm.
stop logging. They stop planning
Hmm.
ahead of time or prepping their foods in advance. So it's important to remember why you did this. Remember that it's not a quick fix. And even though that weight comes off very dramatically and rapid in the first little while, there will be a slowdown and there will be plateaus. What are you going to do when that comes up? You're going to practice those habits that you have adopted prior to surgery, hopefully. And you have to understand that is your new lifestyle, and you have to stay that way in order to support that tool. Unfortunately, I do come across a few patients that have maybe gotten surgery elsewhere and they haven't had a lot of support at all. And it's very sad because they're just kind of restarting. And once you start gaining that weight back after surgery, if that happens, if you fall off and don't do all of those things that support the tool, you're going to find yourself with weight regain, and it's not so easy to lose at all. And it's not near as easy, and it won't fall off like you just had surgery. So
Thank you so much for your time today, Whitney. This
you're
was
very
incredible, and I'm
welcome.
sure for our patients before and after surgery, it's insightful as well. So thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
And guys, remember, we'll be back over the next couple months with more topics, going beyond just basic FAQs and really digging into challenges that patients face. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.